name is Rachel, and today I'm bringing you the top 10 books I want to read in 2022. So before we jump into the new list, I thought we'd do a quick look back at this past year's 2021. So I made a list of 12 books / series that I wanted to read this year. So I had 12-ish books on this TBR, and I have only read a few of them. So I did read Come Tumbling Down, and I also managed to read the one that came out this year, which was Across a Green Grass Field, and I actually got an arc of the one that's coming out in January, and I've already read that as well. So I am officially all caught up in that series, so I'm going to take that as a win. The next one that I did get read was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I really enjoyed that. I hope to continue with the series. And then I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I finally got to that. We read it for our high school book club. Really enjoyed that one. And I did read A Dark, Dark Wood. I actually read several Ruth Ware this year, and I was excited. My low goal was at least to get through A Dark, Dark Wood. And I actually have caught up with her books completely. So she has a new release coming out in 2022. So as long as I stay on them now, I'm going to be all caught up with her books. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I read 4 out of 12. So yikes. So I don't know why I keep setting goals that I don't meet the year before, but on to 2022. So my 10 books that I want to read in 2022. First up is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I've heard such great things about this series, this little trilogy, and I really want to read them. I own all 3 of them. I'm ready to read them. I just have not made the time for it, and I definitely want to do that this year. So, top of the list. And that's like a cute little romance about, well, the series is a set of romances about these 3 sisters, and they just sound absolutely adorable. I don't remember what's happening in this one. I don't remember the premise, but either way, I still want to read it. Next up is Death by Dumpling. This is a cozy mystery series. It's the first book in the series, and I've heard such tremendous things about this series that I have got to read it this year. I bought it, so I'm ready to go, and I really want to get to it. I don't know much beyond the fact that it's a cozy mystery, and I believe it's set in like a Chinese restaurant, but it looks amazing, and I want to get to it this year. Next up, I'm adding Out of Easy back to the list. It's gonna happen because Ruta Sepetys has a book coming out in February, and I want to get both of those books read so that I am all caught up and have read everything Ruta has written. I want to be caught up with her books, so I'm always ready for the next one. So Out of Easy is going to happen in 2022. Next up is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I've had this on my shelf for a while. I've heard great things about it. I read his newest book this year, The Final Girls Support Group, so I really want to give this one a try. I think I'm going to like it. I feel like I'm always drawn to his books, and then I never end up reading them, so I kind of want to change that this year. And this is just it's like silly horror. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it is horror for sure, but it's always kind of like from a funny angle. Another book I've read of his is Horror Store, and it's like basically like a haunted IKEA. So, I mean, it's kind of scary, but it's goofy too. So, in this one, we have a book club who I think reads kind of murder mystery horror books, and a vampire ends up moving into their neighborhood and they have to do something about it. Next up is The Firekeepers Daughter. I've heard such tremendous things about this book, and I love the cover, and I've owned it for a while. I just have not made the time to read it, and I really want to do that. The only thing I know is this is about like a Native American who is dealing with some sort of murder mystery. That's all I know. But I'm really excited to give it a read. Next, and I don't know why I'm doing this, but I do want to read the last book in the Caraval series. I want to read Finale. I think we're going to be reading Caraval for my student book club, so I figured this would be the best time to do it. I can reread Caraval with them, I can reread Legendary on my own, and then finally get to Finale this year. Next up, I want to read Furious Hours. This one is one that it really got moved up my list this year. I've been wanting to read it for a while, just haven't made the time. Same with all of these books. But I read In Cold Blood as a buddy read this year, and I really that just spurred me on to want to read Harper Lee's story. Because she's so like intertwined with Truman Capote, and I just want to see like her version. Now, it's kind of about Harper Lee and the case that she tried to solve. I think number 8, I want to read My Sister, the Serial Killer. I've had this for a while. I've heard tremendous things about it. I have wanted to read it, but again, same as everything else, I have not made the time. So this is me trying to prioritize it because I think I'm really going to like it. So I want to read it. And essentially this one is about a girl whose sister is a serial killer. I think she ends up killing like boyfriends. And then her sister kind of has the hots all of a sudden for our main character's crush. So I think she's going to try to avoid her sister killing him. But she helps her sister like clean up all the messes. Number 9 is Ghostland by Colin Dickey. I really, really wanted to read this in October, but I just did not have the time. So I'm prioritizing it this year. I will probably not try to save it until Halloween weekend like I did this year because then I ran out of time. So we're going to try to prioritize it, maybe get it early, late September, early October, or maybe even over the summer if I decide to. Just want to read it this year. And this is basically a nonfiction book that kind of tours the country, I believe, and looks at spooky locations and kind of delves into the history of these places. And that just sounds fantastic. And then number 10, last on my list, is Bluebird by Attica Locke. I wrote in to Get Booked, a podcast where they do reading recommendations, and asked for a recommendation for me, and then several months later, one for my dad. And the ladies just happened to recommend the same book for both of us, even though there's really not a way I think they could realize we were connected. So, the fact that they gave it to both of us, I just decided this would be a perfect time to buddy read with my dad. So I bought us both a copy like 2 years ago, and guess what? Haven't made time for it. So I'm like, this might be the year. Maybe when we're like traveling together, we can read it together, buddy read, and talk about it. But there they are. Those are the 10 that I'm hoping to get to this year. I really, really want to prioritize them. So I just really am going to try to budget them in. Maybe I'll assign each of them a month. That way it is even more prioritized. But here's hoping. Here's hoping. So, have you read any of these? Which ones do you think I should take care of first in the year, like January, February, March? What are your top 10 books that you want to read in 2022? What are some things you want to get to? How do you prioritize books? Do you make lists? Do you just start with them and read them all in January? Let's talk top 10 TBRs in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.